All right, we are coaching my boy Dingo for a VOD review coaching session. He's playing some Blitzcrank. Dingo, remind me in the chat again real quick. What rank are we working with here? I think I saw your Jin support only account the other day, and I have that rank off the top of my head, but I don't know what your main account actually is. And we'll go ahead and swap this over to red POV. Gold 1 plat 4. Okay, perfect. That gives us a good idea. I will say that the first thing you should always be doing as Blitzcrank, it's the oldest trick in the book. You play a lot of Blitzcrank, so you're doing it this game. I'd imagine you do it most games. Invade. I feel like invading just in general is something that everybody should be doing in solo queue, because I even myself, I've been killed so many times where I'll like at level 1, I'll go like click in this bush and then I'll check my phone, like check out my notifications real quick, and all of a sudden there's a full team on top of me and I die. So there are other people out there like that exist. I am not the only one. And so if you are playing Blitzcrank, invading is a beautiful thing to do. I think you should probably just try to take into account like where you think the jungler is starting and head that direction. I think it's really, really good to be able to invade red side, but only if the jungler is probably going to start red side. I also think it's really good because, again, Blitzcrank invading level 1 is the oldest trick in the book, so a lot of people are aware of that. A lot of people will 5-man stack, but they're more likely to 5-man stack bot than they are to 5-man stack top. So you can keep those things in mind for future games. However, we have a bit of a weird situation here up against a Singed jungle, and I can only imagine that Singed jungle is going to be heavily reliant on having blue buff. So I think invading blue, really good thing to do here. We walk forward. Flash Q every single time. I will trade flash for flash any single time. I am invading as Blitzcrank, especially if it's up against an immobile champion like Lux. Now you know in the lane phase that you land that first hook and she's dead. Another thing, so when we were looking for games to review for you, we always look, or I always want to look for games that you either lost or games that you struggled in. We do know the end result of this game. We do know that you win. But we also know that I think you died like 3, or you went like 3-8. So you died quite a bit. It's going to be a bit of a struggle here. So our goal is to figure out why you're dying so much, especially into like squishy champions like this. This seems like a dream scenario for you where you can just pick them off all the time. So we'll definitely go on to see. And then Dingo, I really encourage you to ask any questions throughout the game in the chat. I will try to do my best to keep an eye out to answer any questions you have. Anybody else who's tuning in right now, you guys can also ask as many questions as you guys want. This is a paid coaching session by Dingo, but I'm here to help anybody that we can. I'm always down to flash there because Hex Flash as well. Great point. Something, honestly, I probably wouldn't have thought of because I don't run Hex Flash all too often. But great thinking there. As a tank support, one thing that I kind of have like as like a habit that I do every single game, if you have the opportunity to, because sometimes if you're up against like double range, they won't allow you to, but you have 2 stacks of your relic shield, obviously, for the first 2 waves, and you're always trying to hit level 2 before the enemy team if you can. I try to save my 2 for the second wave, and I'll use it on 2 of the 3 melee minions to help us get level 2. And I also think that in doing so, it can be really important to play on the bottom side of the lane. That way you can play with the vision in the bushes. Because if you are playing in the lane, which we'll see where you position for this next wave, but if you're playing in the lane and you walk up to auto attack a minion, they're going to see you the whole time, right? They're going to see you walking up. They're going to know exactly what you're trying to do. The little blue balls from the relic shield are really easy to see. So everybody knows what you're trying to accomplish, and into a double range, that's going to be a lot of damage coming out. It's going to be a lot of poke, and it's going to be a dangerous situation to put yourself in. If you're playing on the other side, though, if you're playing in the bushes, you just have to take like 1 or 2 steps out, smack that minion in the face real quick, walk back in. It gives them less time to react, so you're more likely to get those procs off, and you're more likely to hit level 2. And level 2 is always important, but especially when Lux is going to be without her flash here. They have an early push. Level 2 is probably not likely, but it's still possible. Even in a situation like this, even though they did have the early push, you have Relic Shield, they don't, so you can take out minions pretty quick. The way that the minion wave actually played out, it kind of positioned in a weird way, where like it's kind of on your guys' side and like favor top side, so The advice I gave you earlier still stands. If you can play in the bush and like walk out and pop out and hit minions, that's still good. But it wouldn't have worked in this situation just because of the way that the wave is positioned. This is good. We have 2 stacks. It should be these 2 minions. And then we are immediately running up. Love to see it. I think you could have been a little bit more patient with the hook, but at the end of the day, I can never complain or critique something that actually worked. You hooked. You got the flash. Well done. Now something we just have to keep in mind. I believe that the first gank from a jungler comes around like 250 to 3 minutes, but with the changes to the jungle this season, I have seen some weird jungle paths, so I usually get my first ward down at like 230 just to be safe. So especially after you guys shove in this next wave, your Q is on cooldown. Okay, don't mind the ward. Let's go back real quick. What's going on here? Okay, so you know Blitzcrank. You play a lot of Blitzcrank, so you know this. But when your Q is on cooldown, especially this early into the game, you're not super useful. And so your Q is on cooldown for 18 seconds. You're like not really too much of a champion at the moment. So let's see what goes on here. I think this might just be on your Draven. Okay, yeah. I'll point out mistakes that teammates make. What did I say, by the way? What did I just say? Most junglers will gank between 250 and 3 minutes, but jungle clears this season are so weird. Wait, what was this clear? Okay, now I'm so curious. I'm sorry. We're gonna. Wait, that's not a jungle. Wait, it's a mid lane Darius. Okay, now I'm even more confused. That makes even less sense actually than a weird jungle clear. Okay. Anyways, I was saying, there are going to be mistakes your teammates make, and I will point them out, but we won't talk about them too long because we're here to coach you, not your teammates. Your Q is on cooldown. I would hope that your Draven knows that that means you are no longer a champion. He just walks up into a 1v2 where you can't do a whole lot. The only thing I would say is, like, maybe just Hex Flash sooner so you're a little bit more relevant in this fight. They're more likely to just hit your ADC if you're not there. Even if your Q is on cooldown and you're not a champion and you can't offer anything, just by like being present, they might back up a little bit. So even though this is super trolled by your ADC, all you can really do is like try to like walk up a little bit and stay relevant. But overall, a play I don't necessarily agree with by your ADC. It was a good Q after hitting level 2. And then what a weird situation this is. Like, I don't have any advice for you here. Level 2 Darius mid roaming down with Ghost. We just call that unlucky and we move on. Here, as you saw in my last coaching session, I believe that as a... Actually, you know what? Let's back up a little bit more. I want to see how much gold you had on you. Okay, so we have... How much gold did we have on you? We have 460. That, to me, is boots and a control word. And you go for boots. Okay, we got boots. And we left the base with 190 gold. If you got enough money for a control ward, you got to buy a control ward. It's your job as a support. Now, one thing I'll say here is I believe that as a support, I believe if you type in !roam in the chat, you guys will get a link to a pretty old video I made. It's like my ultimate guide to roaming as a support. You might be able to just like type in YouTube like how to roam Nasteey or something like that, and it might pop up. But one of the main things that I always talk about is as a support coming out of base, whether it be after a death, whether it be after a recall, whatever it may be. If you find yourself in base, you don't take this path down to the bot lane. Like 9 times out of 10, you won't take this path down to the bot lane unless like your ADC desperately needs you here for some reason. But in a situation like this, for example, this is in one of the 9 out of 10 times that you don't come here. This wave is pushing in. He's perfectly safe. He doesn't need you here. I'm assuming once you get here, you're just going to like maybe proc Relic Shield once or twice, and then you're going to sit there awkwardly. You want to take this path through the jungle, go through your little gate up into here, and this is going to open the door to a lot of different windows of opportunity. It's going to allow you to meet up with your jungler or do dragon or invade or help mid, or at the very least get vision in the river. So if I were you, I would have bought that control ward, would have dropped it here, would have dropped a trinket here. In a situation like this, don't know what's going on. Darius is running into Orianna, who has a huge minion wave. But these are all things that could happen if you were in this position. And sometimes you're going to come here and there's nothing to accomplish and you just go bot, but you didn't miss out on anything because, again, you're probably just going to come here and sit here awkwardly while nothing is accomplished. So try to get into a habit of doing that. I will give you this much, at this moment in time, after Darius got that kill, if you think he's on a reset here, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to go mid because there's nothing to accomplish here, but at the very least, you can go get some vision. So yeah, just try to get into a habit of doing that. Usually just didn't think we had a chance to defend a pink. I think this is a pretty safe place, though. This is not a pink that I think you necessarily have to worry about being able to defend. Pixel, for sure. But this one is pretty safe. From the blue side, on the back side of your blue, I like that a lot. Really safe ward. This is like at the beginning of every game, when it's an even state, the map is literally like cut in half across the river. So this is only ever going to be contested by the enemy team if they are looking to play aggressive and counter jungle, which at an even state, more times than not, especially in lower ranks, they won't. Little opportunity to freeze here, maybe. You get the ward down and your Draven, make sure it gets frozen, but just make sure that it does get frozen. Sometimes your ADC won't be smart enough to do this, so just face tank this for a little bit. Make sure that you can keep this wave here. Even though you guys did give up a couple kills, you're still a very good kill lane. So you want to be as far on your side of the map as possible. Anytime you're in a kill lane, the reason you want to do that is because you want room to chase down the enemy. If you land a hook here and they try to run away, they are not safe until they run all the way over here, right? Whereas if you are here on the map, or even, here, like halfway in the lane and you land a hook, it's still a far way to go, but it's a lot less of a distance, right? So anytime you're in a kill lane, the further you can be, the closer you can be to your own tower is going to be helpful because it gives you more room to chase down. It's kind of the opposite when you're playing like a ranged kill lane, like the Lux Caitlyn combo. You can kill them from anywhere, right? You can siege and you can kill them under their tower. So in a situation like that, it's okay to siege. You guys don't have great siege, especially as a melee into two ranged champions in the bot lane. If you guys did have them push under their tower, Draven might feel comfortable walking up and hit the tower, but there's no way as a blitzcrank you're ever going to walk up to hit that tower, right? So this is a good spot to have the wave. Don't really know where they are at the moment. We have eyes on them. Bush control is good here. Is Jhin like maybe waiting for an item or something? Or I think without Jhin in here, there's no reason. So like, let's show this for example. This is a very niche thing because you won't find yourself in situations like this all too often. But Jhin is not here, right? This is a level 2 Lux support that we know doesn't have flash because her flash is up kind of at the same time as your flash, right? And let me show you something that is super, super illegal. This right here. There is no reason a level 2 Lux support with no flash should be comfortable enough walking into auto attack range to grab this minion. And I will put blame on you here, but also put blame on the Draven here. You guys should be at the very front of this minion wave, zoning her off. She should not be able to get any XP. She should not be able to last hit any minions. She should not be able to exist in this lane. Even after those couple of kills, this is still very, very legal. Once Jhin shows up, sure, you back up maybe a little bit. You'll still look for kills, but you'll look from a different angle. Right now, this is very, very illegal, though. She should never be able to accomplish this. So it starts with you as the support. If you stand up closer to the wave, again here, there's no reason she should be able to last hit this minion. As a blitzcrank, you should be up here, and she should be like way back here. And the same kind of concept goes for later in the game. If you were hard stomping this lane, same thing. As a kill lane, as a blitzcrank, they no longer get to play the game. They have to stand super far back. You zone them from minions completely. Let's see. I would have gone... Actually, I was going to say I would have gone for the Lux here just because we know she has flash, but Jhin also has no flash. This is a good trade. I don't know if this is necessarily... Is this a kill angle? Okay. I was going to say, I don't know if this is a kill angle, just because I don't know if you guys had enough damage. So, like, this is all looking good, but again, you used your full combo as a Blitzcrank, so now you are no longer a champion. And so now it's just, like, you have auto attacks, and you're just trying to guess if you can kill them before they kill you, which you do, and you get the cash out on Draven. So that all worked out nicely. Only thing I'm concerned about now is you have no way to shove in this wave, which sucks. But I don't really think it's a huge issue. I mentioned this in the last coaching session, but it's not a big issue if they freeze on you early in the game. I know a lot of people will get super tilted by this. Like, Draven might see this state of the wave and think the game's over. This is okay. You can break a freeze very early on in the game. Not a huge issue. Overall, not bad. Again, I wish you were playing closer up, but I really like the Hex Flash over the wall. I liked... excuse me. I like the aggression. Good hook. Good follow-up. You did what you could. Again, after you use your full combo, you are just auto attacks. And ended up working out well because you are, Draven on your team, so that cash in is going to help a lot. Breaking freezes, it just comes down to just shoving in the wave. The way you can break a freeze is by resetting the state of the lane entirely. So, like, if they were trying to freeze here, for example, they had a freeze. If you shove in that whole wave, then the tower will hopefully kill all the minions, and then the waves are reset. So, that's pretty easy to accomplish early on into the game. A lot harder to do later on. So, situation like this sucks, but it's going to be okay. I will say, though, this is I keep referencing the last coaching session because I believe, Dingo, you were here for that one too. But there's a state where the Lux support that we were looking at was bot lane by themselves, farming minions. And I kind of just said, at the end of the day, that wave might look really juicy, looks really tempting, but you're support. That's not your job at the end of the day. And it's kind of the same situation here. You are a Blitzcrank that's like 40% HP, 40% mana. You have no kill pressure here. You don't have your ADC here. There's nothing for you to accomplish. You can't push in this wave. So you are just kind of sitting here right now, right? And let's see how long you sit here for. We're just walking back and forth. Sure, you're soaking up XP. That's about it, right? So what I would rather see from you here, and it might seem a little bit weird because you haven't been back on the map too long, but you do have 600 gold. Go back and spend that gold. If we're going Shirelias this game, that's a Ruby Crystal and a Fairy Charm right there. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but supports in this economy, it's hard to come by gold sometimes. Go back, spend that gold. And it might not seem like a whole lot. It's only $600 or 600 gold worth of components. But that little bit might be all the difference you need to snowball this game. So I think this is an issue here, just staying on the map. It's going to slow down your tempo a little bit. It's going to hurt your kill pressure a little bit. You're not accomplishing anything by being here. This is just not what a support wants to accomplish. I think it makes sense for Lux to stick around. Because she has 800 gold, but she was kind of making sure that this wave got frozen. If Lux had recalled, then you could have definitely pushed this in. But now you're half HP, you're sitting on a lot of gold. I would have liked to really see a recall there. But let's see how you capitalize on it. We'll speed things up because I don't think there's any kills anytime soon, but we can still take a look at how you control the wave. Okay, Q is on cooldown, so we're not really a champion at the moment. Another thing that you really, really have to do, I don't know if we have access to, like, pings and everything. Yeah, we do have access to pings in the spectate mode. But pinging when your Q is up. I feel like a lot of people will think that just because they know what's going on with their own champion, they make the assumption that other people also know what's going on with their champion. That's not fair to them. So, especially when you're playing someone like Blitzcrank, make sure you are pinging when your Q is back up. If you're looking for kills, just because you're walking up is not all the information that your Draven needs to know that you're looking for a hook. So just letting them know when your Q is up. And that kind of goes for any champion that has like a really crucial ability. And it can be kind of hard to do sometimes, like in the middle of the game, especially in team fights and stuff like that. But it really does make a big difference. I'm going to see if I can maybe nitpick this Q a little bit. Again, it's a little bit different. I always like to recommend looking for poke when someone is going for a last hit on a minion. It's a little bit different when it comes to playing Blitzcrank, but you also just want to keep in mind, like, you want to throw abilities when you think you have some kind of information as far as where they are going to be standing. And right now, this is actually probably just a good sidestep, I was going to say, yeah, I don't know. I just don't love this hook in general because, yes, he sidesteps it, but I also think if he just runs straight, he probably misses it. So that's like you're looking for like a max range hook there. Just play a little bit more patient. One thing you have to consider is the threat of your ability being up is a threat in itself, right? You are Blitzcrank, and yes, they have to watch out for your hooks, but now that your hook is on cooldown, now guess what? They can walk up, and they're going to feel confident in this lane again. So just by holding your Q, like if your Q is still on cooldown here, I'm going to see what Jhin does here. Jin's probably going to walk up and confidently hit this minion, right? If your Q is still up, you're not going to be playing all the way back here. You're going to be playing towards the front of the wave, and they're not going to be able to control this wave at all. They're going to be playing super far back. So just be patient with your Q. I like the aggression, but again, it was a hook that, like, he had no real reason to step forward because there wasn't a wave there for him to contest. It was probably going to be a max range hook. Even if he walked straight, he ended up sidestepping it. And sometimes just having the ability available is a threat in itself. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, Q back up in 5. Playing towards the front of the wave. This is all seeming good so far. Low HP, but I think you guys still have potential to win trades here. Oh, wow. That's really aggressive. Okay. Good stuff. In all honesty, I'm not sure that's a play I would have the confidence to pull off. Okay, let's go back and watch it one more time. This is a really good flash, though, again, though, just because you have flash, so you still have usage out of that, even if you use it. Really good stuff. Actually, a bad, I think that's Draven's E. Really good stuff. Okay, not bad. I don't have any criticism for that. Jhin just backed up a little bit later than the Lux did. You found the angle. And if you have enough experience on the champion, that's something you'll be able to do. So good stuff there. Let's go ahead and fast forward here. I would not want to face Dingo's Blitz. I wouldn't either. I feel for this Lux right now. Okay, let's slow down and back up a little bit because I want to see what you build here. 1300. I mean, I like Mobies a lot. I probably grab Mobies here and then start, Mobies, and then some components of your Shurelya's. Good stuff. Except I probably would have found some kind of way to get control wards. Control wards. And then here, same thing. By that control ward, you're running this direction instead to get vision. I'm pretty sure Darius just walked up and warded this. Did he? Yes, he did. So this is your responsibility as a support. This is your vision to control. Yes, you will also be somewhat responsible for controlling vision here for ganks and stuff like that. But your ADC will never be in a position to ward this, whereas you will. And your ADC will be in a position to ward this, so you guys can like team up together to make sure that this vision is controlled. So you guys can keep an eye out for ganks. But this vision here, that's your responsibility to clear. Vision in the river, something like this, where like Orianna might need help with a gank. Orianna might need help with shoving out a wave, stuff like that. Literally every other game, I get them, I swear. I believe you, my man. I believe you. But just try to get into a better habit of not only buying them, but then roaming here to get this vision. They kind of go together. Actually, you do a little bit of a roam here. So you went bot and then changed your mind. Or maybe this was a response to seeing Singe come down, maybe to defend this red buff. Okay, good stuff. I like the E and then the ability to refrain from not using Q. I feel like a lot of Blitzcrank players, they're like, oh, I can land this Q, so I might as well land this Q. Not always the case. Okay, so we know Singe is probably in the area, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. We are very dark on the map right now. I think that's okay. I see a lot of Pike players do that, where they'll like hook a minion in or like a cannon in to make sure they get the Relic Shield proc on it. I feel like your cooldown on your Q is just too long to actually do that as Blitzcrank. I think Pike's Q is short enough that he can afford to do that. And then again, we always want to be able to threaten something as this lane. So if they saw you just use your Q just now, they know, okay, we're safe to walk up and hit this wave for the next 18 seconds or so, right? Another thing I'm noticing is you do have a tendency to sometimes play back, and you do have a very aggressive playstyle, which works really well for Blitzcrank, but you don't want to have any patterns, and I'm starting to kind of pick up on a pattern. Like, when you want to play aggressive, you play aggressive. When you don't want to play aggressive, you don't play aggressive. So right now, this is just simply too far back. Even if your Q is still on cooldown, which it's about to come up, we want to be at the front of the wave. We want to threaten it. And then, again, if your Q is on cooldown, you know the exact time that it's up, but they might not know that it's up yet, right? Or they might think that it's up already. So even if there's 4 seconds left on the Q, by standing at the front of the wave, you're going to be a presence. So you guys are still a kill lane. Even though the lane hasn't gone like perfectly, you guys still have potential to get kills whenever you want, especially on like Lux, who has no flash right now. So you want to be able to play up in the lane. Or even just like, you know, if you can't look for angles, look for... let's see. Like I say, if you can't see angles, you can look for to just zone them off. This is really good though. Let's watch this one more time just to see. So again, we are playing back. We're playing back, and all of a sudden we want to go in. Is this a little early? No, I don't think this is early because Jin greeds for this minion. So this is actually really, really good timing. Yes, your Gragas isn't in position yet, but he walks up. I see Gragas pathing boss, so I don't want to be aggressive and give it away. So, yeah, that's a good point. I 100% understand that. The main thing, though, is you don't want to have patterns, right? So, like, if you are standing at the front of the wave, the whole lane, right, they won't know if Gragas is there or not. Whereas if you're playing really far back or really far forward and you have patterns to your position in the lane, they might be able to pick something up. So, yes, I do like the awareness of not wanting to be over aggressive when Gragas is nearby. You don't want to change your pattern, but you want your pattern to be consistent, right? You want to, if you're always playing at the front of the wave, then they'll never know. But this is actually really good timing. Again, yes, Gragas isn't in position, but Jin greeted for the last hit on the minion. You do get stunned up, but you land a really nice one. I probably would have went for the Lux here just because we know she has no flash. So something to keep in mind. But you still get the flash here, so not bad. Only thing you could have done there is aim for Lux. I also think maybe just like a push into a dragon is good here. But maybe not without mid-prio and without knowledge where the jungler is. So what happens here? There's just no vision in this bush, I guess. So this is just like a false sense of security, I suppose, because Gragas was just here. But at the end of the day, if Gragas is leaving, you guys just need vision in this bush, which isn't something I even called out. So it does happen. Sometimes, like, you'll look back and you'll be like, man, why did I have wards on me? Why didn't I just place a ward? So it's something everybody can work on, just making sure that you, making sure you have your wards down. And then here, this is something I think I need to point out. I think you could probably just agree for yourself. Like, yeah, I like the idea of pulling them into tower, but it's not going to work out. And then again, so I always like to do this. Let's do a freeze frame, right? If I did a freeze frame right here and showed this to anybody ever, they'd be like, Draven's a lost cause. He's dead already, right? So we don't need to try to save him. Just continue running away. You always want to try to save your ADC as a support, but sometimes they're not able to be saved. So maybe the idea here was to continue to fuel. Maybe it was to pull them under tower, or maybe it was just an honest mistake, right? So don't want to spend too much time on that. I think we're aware of the mistake there. And we'll fast forward. Here we do a good job of going towards mid. We hex flash over. Control ward here is fine for the sake of the gank. I would just make sure, like, you need to be pinging this, because yes, you're in the area, but you also need to let them know, like, hey, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Good hook, good knockup. Oh, okay. Unlucky ulti, but it worked anyways. Okay, really good stuff. Good roam. Especially if you're going Mobies on Blitzcrank, you need to be roaming. There's no point to build Mobies on Blitz if you're not roaming. And then I didn't see if you were the one that placed this ward, but this is good vision. This is what we need to accomplish at all times. You just potentially saved Orianna from dying. Okay, we're back in the lane. We're looking for a Hex Flash. He has no flash. Honest mistake. It's okay. It happens. You were probably looking to flash over and get him, right? No worries there. No worries there. Let's go ahead and put an extra focus on you. Now, one thing that will be really interesting, this is something that I've struggled with, so maybe this could be a learning process for both of us. But it's really easy when it comes to hook champions to understand your win con in the lane phase. Look for opportunities to engage, hook them, kill them, right? It's not nearly a simple mid to late game. It's really easy to team fight and just front to back as most champions. You can't do that as well as Blitzcrank. You gotta look for picks. You gotta have good target selection. You gotta control vision well. You gotta do a lot of things. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing. Overall, I really liked your lane phase. I think maybe just trying to stay more relevant. This is actually really good. Love this. Standing at the front of the wave, right? Always threatening that hook. Other than like being patient and dropping some more wards and standing at the front of the wave, I think those are three things you can focus on in the early game. Overall, I really like the aggression that you've been showing. So again, the mid to late game is going to be a thing that's really interesting. I think you guys, unfortunately, did not get as many kills on the Draven as you guys would like to, but you guys are still in a good spot. We know Singe is top, so we can play even more aggressive now. This is what I kind of mentioned earlier, like this matchup of poke into engage. Sometimes it is down to, does the poke too much, or does the engage before the poke comes through? You are taking some poke, but you're still pretty healthy. Good hook. Good everything except I think your ulti needed to come through sooner. Yeah, I think we just do the full combo here. QE ultimate. Ultimate. Oh, wait. Did you try to sidestep the Jin W here? Does that happen? This might just be a bit of a brain fart here. Good Q. Your Draven's in position to instantly do damage. Yeah, we just need to use that ulti right away, because if she's silenced, Draven's going to continue hitting. She's not able to get this combo off. Yeah, I think that ulti just needs to come through. And then what I will say is, again, you are not really a champion after you use your full combo, but you still need to act like it. Especially, like, just this health bar in itself is enough sometimes to scare people away. So you use your combo, and then where do you go? You're running away from the fight, right? Obviously, you and I both know you can't offer anything anymore, right? You can't auto attack. You have no abilities up. But maybe standing near your Draven makes them less confident to walk up. Probably not. I think the end result is probably the exact same. But I'm just giving you this piece of information for like future reference. Like, especially in big team fights later in the game, if you see like your teammate maybe get stunned up, you don't want to run away. You want to run towards the fight as a frontliner to try to scare them away a little bit. Just your health bar alone can sometimes be a little threatening. So those are a couple things to point out from that. Here you got 800. I think you probably just recall here. Or are you gonna look for a roam instead? I mean, I definitely see the potential here, but I think he's just on a reset. I think I would have just roamed, or would have just recalled here. Spent my 800 gold. That way I could have got back on the map at the same time as my Draven. Now you could go back bot and meet up with your Draven, but then you haven't spent your gold. So this is about tempo and just being on the same page as your ADC. Sometimes there's going to be situations where there's really nothing you can do. Maybe you're like just getting back on the map, and then your ADC like dies 1v2. It's like, okay, well, this sucks because I want to continue to try to play aggressive in the lane. and look for kills, but my ADC and I are not on the map at the same time. So that's what I would have done there, is just recall to make sure you're back in base at the same time, you're back on the map at the same time. Sure, you meet up with him here, but again, you're not spending your money, right? We need to be spending our money so we can always try to push our lead, and every little bit can make a difference, even if it's just like finishing off your ruby crystal or finishing off I forget the name of the mana item that builds into Trellias, but every little stat could make a difference. I can maybe understand like that roam there if maybe Orianna was like closer to here and like the wave was pushed in, or maybe she was getting ganked or something like that. But there was no real reason to go mid here other than like the potential for something to happen. So I think it's just more valuable to recall and cash in your gold there. Okay, I think we're kind of wrapping up the lane phase here. Looks like there's going to be some big team fights coming up. We'll put it on 4 times speed to see if anything happens. Okay, we got something. And this is the beautiful thing about this combo, right? Is even though you guys have been struggling, the potential for kills is still there. This is really, really good. Just Catcher kind of slacking. I do want to see you use your combo a little quicker. I think, for example, like when I play Rakan and I think someone is like for sure caught out, they have no abilities that give them movement, they have no flash, I'll use my ulti, I'll run through them, I'll wait a second, I'll use a W, and that's what I consider a like extended CC combo. So like as Blitzcrank, you could like walk up, E, wait a second, Q, silence, right? You can space them out a little bit for an extended combo, but if we're just looking to burst someone down and to like secure that kill, we don't want anything like fluky to happen. So E, just coming down, Q, silence. We want to do all of that, and that's because she does have flash, right? We don't want to risk any of these things from happening. Great Q to secure the kill here, but we just want that combo to come out a little bit quicker. That's the kind of the same issue we saw here. We can afford to space things out when we know for sure that someone is locked down, like they're by themselves or they have no flash or anything like that. I knew she had flash, so that's why I held my Q. Well, you can E into Q right away, right? There's not a gap there. You can actually correct me if I'm wrong here because you play more Blitzcrank than I do. But there are certain combos that just simply you can't miss because they're guaranteed. Like, for example, if you charm someone as Rakan and then W immediately, they cannot miss it. They will be CC'd no matter what. And I believe, at least as Blitzcrank, that there is not a gap in between your E and your Q if you were to just use it immediately. If you do have the confidence to land the Q after she flashes away, if that was your reasoning, like, oh, I held my Q because I knew she had flash, I wanted her to flash and I Q her, mad props to you for having the confidence to do it. I would probably look at the situation as, let's kill her before she flashes. That's probably how I would look at it. But overall, I can never overly critique something. You have someone behind you here, by the way. We're noticing it, but it's a little late. Run in, the knock up. He might just be dead. Yeah, he's dead. Okay. That's a Rylai's Singe jungle. Yikes. Okay. No gap for EQ, but wasn't confident we killed it and didn't want to risk the flash and live. Well, there's also the silence after too, right? Which prevents the flash. I almost like it's tough sometimes to coach because there are things that I consider to be like the wrong play potentially. Like I like to call like wrong play, right result. By the way, VIP Blade has watched 3 consecutive streams this month and sparked a watch streak. I appreciate it, my man. Milestones are a new addition to Twitch, by the way, if you guys didn't know, and they're pretty cool. And I believe you have to like opt in to share them. So if any of you guys reach a milestone with me, I'd really appreciate sharing it. Especially someone like VIP Blade is not someone that's super active in the chat. I wouldn't actually know that he's been hanging out supporting the stream the whole time, but the milestone lets me know that. So I appreciate that, my man. Let's go back here, though. Let's focus on the game. Again, yeah, I think this is wrong play, right result. Again, sometimes you just have to like sit back and ask yourself, like, I am a support. Is this what a support is supposed to accomplish? You are a support. This isn't your wave that like you desperately need the CS from. You're actually not even going to get the CS because you're not confident enough to do it. You don't like desperately need the XP. I think it's okay to just back up, give some plating here, recall, and then again tempo and being on the map at the same time as your ADC. Really good things. It somehow works out though for you. Like if you were to be in this situation, I think you handled it as best as possible. E, sidestep, Q, good CC, good sidestepping here. For the most part, you dodged 3 out of 4. Pretty much did everything you possibly could have. Again, wrong play, right result, I think, in my opinion. And then they are just griefing here. And then here, again, we're going to see Draven's going to be back on the map while you're off the map. It resulted in a 2-for-1, so it's hard. It sounds weird to, like, critique something that actually went well. Okay, let's not... this Gragas is up to some weird stuff. Weird stuff. Okay, went 2 for 2. But yeah, now you're off the map at the same time as Draven. But it's okay. Let's see what you do next. This is another opportunity. Roam, get vision around the river, especially with this dragon coming up. Let's see what you do. Also, I believe we're like 40 minutes into the coaching session or so. So I'm going to try to speed through things a little bit because we still have half of the game to go through. And I want to see some team fights and see how you play in those situations. I don't love this control word, by the way. Control words, we always want to put them in a place where we can contest the vision. Unless it's like really late game and you're just like trying to clear up vision and like you see someone drop a ward, your sweeper's on cooldown, so you want to like drop the control word real quick to contest or to sweep the vision. That's fine. This is not a control ward that we necessarily will be able to contest. It might actually provide some good vision for this upcoming fight, but just throw a regular ward there instead, I think. Especially with the dragon coming up, control ward, and pixel brush. I also don't know if you were the one that placed this ward. I didn't see. But this is not necessarily a ward that we need. This is good for a control ward just because this is a spot that they probably won't be walking up into super often. So we feel comfortable contesting this, but we also think it's going to sit there for a long period of time. I think a control ward and pixel is more important. I think maybe even like a ward on the other side of the wall here could be good. This is an okay ward for a regular ward. Don't love it for control ward though. Another thing you could just be doing is just like pinging this dragon and letting your team know that you want to set up for it. As a support, when you're setting up vision, you know sometimes better than anybody else when a good time to do dragon is. So we have that going for you. Potentially good roam here. Like what I'm seeing. I want to see this combo come out quick. Again, I would have liked to see the combo come out a little quicker, but that's okay. Nice try, nice try. We get this dragon for free now. Now, if I do remember, you have 8 deaths in this game. Great ward, by the way. Expecting the flash over to potentially land the hook. I like that a lot. Really like the way you're thinking. But yes, you do die 8 times in this game, I believe. So there's probably going to be some mispositioning going on towards the back half of this game. So far, you've done a really good job, though. Good KP, good presence on the map. Good aggression. But team fights is where things get tricky. I also don't like this, though. So we dropped 2 wards in the bushes here. I don't know if this is necessarily for, like, a Singe gank or what it's for. But I think a bush in the... or a ward in the bush could be good. This one, especially, like... This one here was too far back, too safe. This one here, kind of the same thing. Like, I don't think this ward is ever going to really accomplish a whole lot. I could see this one being okay, like, if they were pushing in and you were afraid of, like, a singed lane gank or something like that. But I don't think these wards accomplish a whole lot. So, just try to be mindful with your wards and think about, will these actually accomplish anything? Or did I put these down just to put these down? I also want to nitpick this part a little bit. Because I like the idea to run in. But you also have to think, Like, they don't have any reason to necessarily walk up and hit this wave because it just could push into them. Also, even after using everything here, you're running too fast. This is a problem a lot of people have on, like, I don't know, like Hecarim or something like that. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had a Hecarim, like, flame the team for, like, not following up. It's like, man, you popped Ghost and all your abilities and then ulted in. You are so far ahead of everybody. How could we follow up? So you pop W, you pop Strelia's here. Even if you land this hook, I don't know if you necessarily get a kill because Draven just simply can't follow up. So, patience. Patience is key. Especially with, like, this potential dive setup. Don't you wish you had Shurelia's for this? Nothing comes out of it. Nice hook. I like that attempt, actually. Alright, let's put the focus back on you. We have eyes on Singed. Okay, let's let this whole thing play out, and then we will nitpick it after. Not a bad job of peeling. I'm trying to think what I would have done in this situation. I will point out this. You can't just walk up and E him because he'll flip you backwards, but you do a really good job of silencing first. So he can't flip you, and then the E, and then the flash away. And then you even hook him away from your ADC. I don't know if I would have done anything here differently, other than I probably would have just ran. I probably would have just ran straight back to my tower. I thought you played this pretty well, though. I think either option is fine, but if you are getting 5-man bot 18 minutes into a game, this is probably just the result. And it's honestly not the end of the world. I think the play thing's fine. Except we don't really want to fight here. Because it is still 5-man bots. Okay, so I was just saying we did nothing wrong here, but this is wrong. They have 5 people bots, so they're all sharing XP. They're all sharing minions. GP will get a push. Orianna's going to get a free tower. You guys got 1 death on your team. That's not an issue whatsoever. But this is not something we want to contest. It's still a 5-man bot. So, yeah. Not sure. This is kind of you and Gragas. You guys can kind of share the blame here. But you turned what I would consider to be like a really bad play by them into a okay play. Like, after that first death, if I was you guys, I'd be like, okay, that was actually really worth for us. They sent 5 bot, and they got 1 kill. But meanwhile, GP's pushing. Orianna already got a tower. She's already working on her second. Like, super, super worth. But then you guys just, like, overstay, try to do, like, a 2v5, and things go poorly. So, I guess just, like, not quite understanding the situation. And maybe that just has to do with, like, looking at the map and realizing, like, okay, it is okay for us to lose this. We just got to give... Like, we just gotta back up and let our teammates do things elsewhere. If you are playing weak side, someone is playing strong side, and you gotta let strong side play strong side. So here, I've been kind of waiting for an opportunity to say this because this is one of like my golden rules, and this is something I use for multiple champions. So Thresh, for example, don't risk the hook if you can land the fillet first. Rakan, don't risk the W if you can land the charm first. When it comes to Blitzcrank, don't risk the Q if you could just land the E first. So here, you're running that thumb full speed. He's not backing up whatsoever. You can simply walk up until he shows otherwise that he's willing to like run or sidestep or anything. Run and land the E first. You would just walk up, E, Q, silence, and it's all guaranteed to land because you started with the point-click ability in your E. That's probably where I would have started. There's also just the fact that is he even fed? Oh, he is kind of fed, huh? Your ADC also kind of mispositions here. That's another thing. But I don't even know if that's necessarily a fight you would go for. Again, I point out problems that I have myself just to let you guys know that you aren't always alone in having these issues. But sometimes I can kind of get lost in my own world as a bot laner and not really pay attention to what's going on elsewhere on the map. And we've been hyper focused on what you've been doing this game, and we haven't noticed what's going on elsewhere. And sometimes just a friendly little click on tab will let you know, like, oh wait, this Darius is fed. Maybe we shouldn't go for this play, especially when our tower's already dead and now we're just face tanking a Darius. So the two things I would say there is maybe don't go for that play because Darius is really fed, and you probably need more than just you and your Draven to kill him, especially because your Draven is 3 and 8. But also in situations where we can't land our E first, we walk up, we land our E first to guarantee the Q and the silence follow up afterwards. And that was definitely problematic. Okay. Again, we're getting close to the hour mark, so we're going to start speeding things up. I want to go through every last major fight that I could possibly find. Your Draven's having a bit of a rough game. We're going to have to let him die. Now you're in a rough spot. This just goes back to a pretty simple rule, which is, as a support, you want to save your teammates when they are capable of being saved, but sometimes they are just not worth saving or they're not able to be saved. And I'll use the same example of a screenshot, right? If I took a screenshot of this moment right here and asked anybody, they're like, wait, let's see. Draven's 3 and 8. Okay, Singe is 219. Jace is 425. Yeah, Draven's dead. But you still kind of commit to him a little bit, right? This little bit of hesitation, now they know where you are. You used your W, which is on cooldown now. You're going to get pincered. Or actually, no, now you use your W, and then it's going to be on cooldown right here, which is a bit awkward. And now you're just in the middle, so it's just an ADC that's not worth saving. There's going to be situations like that, and again, you just have to realize, yes, as a support, it's like the main thing you're always trying to accomplish is save your ADC. Sometimes they aren't able to be saved. It's a hard thing to wrap your head around, but it is what it is. That's what you got to do. I think I see 2 more big team fights coming up potentially in this game. So we'll start here, which looks like maybe a pick that you guys get. GP ulti behind, which is kind of troll because it misses, but good pick. Good stuff. That to me is a Baron. If I'm on my team right now, we just picked the Jhin. I'm saying Baron, Baron, Baron. We control vision in this area. And that way, if they walk up, we can get another pick. Because as Blitzcrank, all you want to do is play for picks. Instead, someone dies. And this is going to look like... It looks like it's just going to turn into like a really random skirmish, potentially. So not a whole lot of advice, honestly, to offer for this one, just because it is such a random, chaotic fight. I feel like you're doing a pretty good job of just doing what you can. I guess the only thing I would recommend is going back to that initial pick. You get picks, you turn it into something, right? That's always what we want to do. You get kills, and you have to immediately think, okay, we got this kill. What can we do with this? Are we just going to recall? Can we push a wave? Can we get a tower? Can we get a dragon? Can we get Baron? After this kill on the Jhin, if we just get vision here and then go to Baron, then you guys either get Baron or they walk up and you get another hook and you potentially get more kills. And that is something that anybody in any role can do. But as a support, I feel like you have more responsibility to shot call since you're the one doing the majority of the vision. So you have an idea of where people are, how to control the vision around objectives, and when you're capable of doing objectives. Especially as a Blitzcrank who has pick potential, you can do that as well. Yeah, the game is right around high gold, low flats. Alright, I lied, by the way. I said there's 2 more team fights. I think there's another 2. So I see this one, and then there's one towards the end of the game. Again, we're getting real close to an hour here, and I like to make these games, or these VOD reviews right around an hour. So we'll try to wrap things up here, but I don't want to overlook anything. Did you do anything in this fight, or did it kind of start before you got there? Oh, no, you got the hook. Beautiful. And that's that fast combo that I want to see more often. It seems like you're getting a little too comfortable in the early stages of the game, just like spreading out your abilities a little bit. But since this was a late game team fight, you like did it all rapid fire. I like to see that. I want to see that more often. You're risking a lot less by doing that. And this is the whole reason we play Blitzcrank. It's not necessarily for team fights. It's for those picks. And once we get that fight, then we team fight. Because it's 4v5 and we've already swayed the game in our favor. Okay, we got one last team fight here to end the game, it looks like. Flash forward hook to secure that kill, help end the game. Love to see it. Good job of staying relevant. You're sticking with your team even though it's on cooldown. Once your abilities are up, it allows you to enter the fight. Nice and easy. Pretty good stuff. I didn't see a whole lot of like pings from you this game or like macro control. I also obviously don't get to I don't get to see like what you're saying in the chat. But overall, I really love the aggression, and if you can combine the aggression that you have on Blitzcrank with the macro play, just shot calling for your team, controlling vision, stuff like that, being able to pick people around objectives and then convert that into objectives, I think you'll have a lot more success. There's also a lot of the things that we saw in the lane phase, just as far as, just making sure that you're stepping up in the wave, making sure you're always having that threat, even when your abilities are on cooldown, or potentially saving your abilities, and not forcing them. That way that threat of your abilities is always there. But overall, really like the aggression. I really like the Blitzcrank for you. Just got to work on like the strategical side of things, the macro, the objective, stuff like that.